Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, thanks for the work during the break and the time that we had talking about the coronavirus response at the department. What was the power level that was used for the DOT testing, please?
DOT provided results for the original Legato power level, I believe, of 1,500 watts, and specifically to the present case and the present FCC order, 10 watts.
Can you put that in terms of dBW?
dBW would be 10 dBW for the 10-watt transmitter.
So transportation, so the study did include the 9.8 dBW analysis?
Correct.
And that did find clear evidence of interference?
Exactly so, sir.
And
in fact, they published carefully the power levels required to cause the suite of receivers that were tested to lock up.
could you supply that data to this committee, please?
Absolutely.
I'd appreciate that. I share some of the concerns that have been raised. The FCC they're capable people. I don't always agree with them. It's one of the few unanimous orders I've seen them undertake. It's a 74-page order with 444 footnotes. It strikes me that some serious thought went into it. And they have two concerns, as I understand the order. One is the development of the Internet of Things. And that's an important part of the future development of 5G technology and indeed the technology of the country. The second is efficient use of spectrum. What is the shadow cast by the GPS band? In other words, how much spectrum are you seeking to tie up beyond the band that is now specified as the GPS band?
The department and neither the department nor any federal agency of which I am aware is asking for any additional spectrum to be set aside for global navigation satellite systems, of which GPS is one. What we are saying is that the spectrum already set aside for those functions should be left for those functions and not repurposed for terrestrial transmitters.
How wide is that? Because the chart that was with my background shows a band between, it looks like about 1552 and 1610.
It's 1559 to 1610 megahertz, sir.
Okay, so that's the band that's the inviolate band that you want to protect, correct?
Correct, sir.
But the band that Legato wants looks like about 1522 to 1530. That's not within the band you just defined.
It is within the larger mobile satellite services band, and this is the point.
Well, that's my question. What is the, quote, larger mobile services band?
We want
because you told me a few moments ago that the band you were interested in was 1559 to 16-something. What is it? Which is it?
In order to protect, it is both. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to obfuscate. There is a specific radio navigation satellite services band that is housed within the larger mobile satellite services band.
And what is that? Where does it,
I don't have that in my head. I'll have to take that.
I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just trying to understand this, because I start with the premise that an independent agency that reached a unanimous conclusion on something that's been extensively litigated had some basis for doing so. And if your chart here of trying to hear rustling leaves over 100 jets taking off is accurate, I just find that hard to believe that they would have issued such an order if that is in fact what we're talking about.
I find it hard to believe too, which is why we're here. The reason that the satellite services are grouped together is because all of the radio signals coming from satellites in space are quite weak. So all of the weak signals are grouped together. Not all of them are navigation signals. Some of them are mobile satellite services of other kinds, but they don't interfere with one another. If you put a ground-based transmitter in the middle of a mobile satellite services band, it has the capability of interfering with other services. In this case, we're here talking about the interference with navigation.
Well, I think it's important that you specify for us how wide the band you want to protect really is, because that then becomes a major policy question about access to scarce spectrum. In other words, I accept your statements and realize how important this is to the country and particularly to the Department of Defense, but I just want to understand the policy decision that we're being urged to take here in terms of how much bandwidth are we being asked to protect. That would be, if you could submit some response to that for the record, that would be.
I will give you those specific numbers, but broadly speaking, we seek to protect the services reserved for satellite communication.
And I understand that, but that goes beyond the band that that is defined, the 1559. And the question is, how much of a buffer do you need to protect yourself from a relatively low-power terrestrial signal? And, you know, we can talk about the physics, but I'd like to, I just want to know, I want to know how much bandwidth you want us to protect, that's all. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do so, but I think we need to understand that in terms of what it means for other potential uses of that bandwidth.
We'll provide that number for the record.
Thank you, I appreciate it.